Hey guys, welcome to Tuning Tuesday with VMP. This is Season 2, Episode 16. And I guess the beginning of today's show's focus will be truck stuff.
Truck stuff. Making your truck go fast.
Exactly, especially if it's single cab, because that's the only way to do it. Two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, Justin? I get that question a lot.
So, four-wheel drive is very easy to go a little bit fast. It's much harder to go very fast with four-wheel drive.
I'd say if you're looking for convenience factor of taking your truck out, four-wheel drive up until like that, we'll call it like, if it's crew cab, bottom 11s, single cab, like 10s-ish is kind of like that cutoff of where I think you can get a two-wheel drive truck to work just as well with a little bit more money.
Yeah. But you
But it's definitely easier to go out.
Yeah.
You don't need like slicks.
You don't have the convenience factor because a two-wheel drive truck, you got to have some drag radials on it. And probably if you didn't have traction bars on your two-wheel drive truck, I don't know what would happen. It might not be good.
I'd probably have a bad time.
Yeah, wheel hop.
Yeah, whether it be drive shaft or the electronic locker, something would be having a bad time back there.
That's true. I got a message from one of our customers. He's like, I broke another electronic locker. What do I use?
Yeah, and granted with wheel hop, but you've even had issues with the Mustang diff and spider gears and stuff.
Yeah, and the problem is that the trucks use a Super 8.8, and the placement of the ring gear is different than the old 8.8. So we're using the Mustang, the 15-up Mustang diff, because it has the right offset for the ring gear. So you don't have like the full force of the aftermarket available. I think there's a 15-up wave track, which is like $1,000. And other than that, I don't know what else there is.
Yeah, that sucks.
But luckily, your electronic locker has been working good with...
Yeah, so far so good.
Like when you can put a lot of power to stuff, and if you don't do it in a reckless way, a lot of times it holds up fine.
And even if it's not intentionally reckless, like you could be doing stuff that you think is fine, but like can cause big issues, like staying in it during wheel hop, or just wheel hop happening so fast you can't get out of it and then have problems.
Or the people that are like, well, I'm just going to go out there on my street tires and try to run 10s because I just think it'll do it. You got one
Especially
wheel,
without traction bars and stuff.
Yeah, you got one wheel spinning faster than the other. You got weird stuff going on. That is stupid shit that breaks things.
David Murdoch says he has a 2008 Colorado. Let's put a Gen 3 or 4 on the 4-cylinder.
It's not a 5. I've made some power on a turbo 5-cylinder Colorado, but that was a long, long time ago.
Wesley says, I have a 16 F-150 4-door bone stock. Could I get some horsepower gains, and possible how much?
Yeah, the gains and how much depend on your fuel quality and what exactly we're doing as far as mods on the truck. I'd say good first mod for the 15-17 trucks is a cold air. You don't need a tune update for a cold air on a 15-17 truck. And to clarify, because like I get like mixed feelings about saying it like this, but by 15-17 I don't mean year 15-17, I mean 2015 to 2017, just to clarify. But cold air is definitely a good step 1. Tune's definitely a good step 2, or even a step 1 and step 2. And then, the truck's already flex fuel from the factory, so if you want to run E85, just throw some in it. If you have our tune with E85, it just amplifies the power gains that you're going to get out of the tune. The tune, we can do a lot of stuff with shift schedules and stuff like that, so if you tow a lot with the truck, we can kind of cater something towards that. If you race a lot with the truck, we can do other stuff for that. Yeah, you get a whole lot more RPM out of that setup.
It's a Coyote motor. It loves to rev.
A Mustang intake manifold, if you're really going to be doing a lot of racing with it. There's kind of like endless possibilities. It just really depends on what you're looking to get out of the truck, what you're looking to spend, and like the order in which you're looking to progress.
Supercharger kit.
Yeah.
Go run 10s and 11s like me and Joe.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 people have inquired about the 18 kit.
Mm-hmm.
Any update?
We are working on it. several times a week, and I don't want to make this sound more complicated than it is, but working in parallel with different teams, doing different things, everything from calibration and dyno testing to hardware development, sourcing, nuances of the design,
Sales and support, seeing what people are looking for.
Yeah.
Just everything.
So it's going to be awesome when it's done, but it's still a ways out from being done.
Keep in mind, guys, we have the advantage of having every kit and knowing what every kit costs and everything. We have the advantage of being, quote unquote, last to market.
Yeah. We have the opportunity of seeing everything that's out there and what they did. I'm just going to say this, what they did wrong, and then making sure we don't make the same mistakes and we significantly improve upon it.
Let's see here. So B Lightning, well, why don't we start this first with, we're being asked, how was Saturday? How'd the event go Saturday?
It went good.
Good, yeah.
We got some video footage. I think the guys that ran the event got some good video footage of that.
Yeah, Joe was our main man on the dyno, and yeah, everybody cruised in, hung out for a while, did some stuff, and then headed out.
Yeah.
If you go over to our Instagram page, actually, I saved the timeline or our story there, so you'll see it there on the top of our feed, so you can kind of just go back and see. It was a very big event. It was bigger than our first event. Cars were probably about 4 cars deep. We had everything there from Camaros to Hellcats to Mustangs to Mini Coopers.
The SVT Contour from the first event came back.
It did. I didn't
Silver
see
SVT
it.
Contour. Yeah.
So literally we had a Porsche here.
Yeah. I think we had it was like a 911 GT2 or something like that.
And that trike.
There's a tricycle here too.
It wasn't a trike.
Or was it like one of the slingshot things?
Yeah, one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had like a slingshot thing, whatever it was.
One of the bros.
So anyway, it was turned out very, very well. And that kind of segues into the next question that came up was, when is our next open house event? We have not put that on the calendar just yet, but we're already kind of in discussions to figure out what the next event is going to be, when we're going to have it. Is it only going to be a VMP event? Are we going to make it a dyno day or not a dyno day? So we're in discussions now. Best thing I can tell you is stay tuned to our channels because we'll be sure to let everybody know.
It won't be like a surprise pop-up event. If we're budgeting people to be here, you can have a high degree of certainty you will know about it if you're paying attention to the channels.
Exactly. And that goes into Jonathan Whitaker's on the line. He says he needs that VMP turbo upgrade for his Duramax.
Oh, man. All the turbers.
Chuck is on the line.
Hi, Chuck.
He says,
Hey, Chuck.
Tuning Tuesday brought to you by Diet Coke and Starbucks.
And also Tijuana Flats.
Tijuana Flats.
Dale wants to know how many cars were dynoed. I think
There was 5 cars dynoed. It seemed like there was a lot of scared people. I don't know why people are so scared of the dyno.
It was only $80. And that's one of those things like Joe was kind of alluding to. For us to have a dyno day, have staff out there to operate the dyno and stuff, like we really need to do like 10 or 20 cars. So definitely next event, a little bigger, a little more amped up.
Let's see what else. Mustang Lifestyle. Andrew's sitting there saying, Joe, your beard is looking mighty fine today.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, thank you.
B Lightning says, how much do you charge for dyno runs? I'm tuned and my PVD on pump E85.
So for events like that, by that I mean the one that we did the other day where it's a full, like a dyno day thing where we are there with the intention of just doing dyno pulls on cars, no tuning. It's anywhere from $80 to $100 on dyno days.
It's discounted because we're doing a lot of dyno pulls only.
But if you wanted to come to our facility on a normal business day and just have your vehicle dynoed, I believe that's $225.
Yeah, it's around $200 to $250. And most people are using that service to like get some remote tuning done or get some tuning and testing of their own done. So it just, we make sure it's operated properly for you, but it ties up a piece of equipment.
Exactly. So if you're wanting to have your car put on the dyno, give us a call with a very specific like set of things you're looking to accomplish when the car is on the dyno, so that we can accurately quote
Yeah,
the service before you come here, and then we can also kind of set expectations as to what you're going to get when we put your car on the dyno before you get here.
Like, yeah, you know, just basically the best way to do what you're trying to do. So we use our dyno all day long to do tuning, to do product development, to test different combinations. So it's a fairly busy piece of equipment. Our main reason for having it is retail dyno tuning. People come in here and need to get their car dialed in, see how much power it makes, and then our second reason for having it is product development.
Brett Leminger's on the line.
Hey, Brett.
Hello,
He
Brett.
says you guys have tunes for 3.5 Gen 2 trucks.
Matt can do 3.5 Gen 2 trucks all day, every day.
Yeah.
I'm starting to dabble into them, but I'm not to the point where I'd openly unleash the retail goblins of F-150 3.5 EcoBoost tuning. But
Dorian says 10s and 11s. It's about time for 9s and 10s.
Isn't it?
It is. It is so time for 9s and 10s.
my truck just sits under the carport right now. I drive it like 1 or 2 days a week. Well, I finally got my wheels, and like now it's hot.
Yeah. Hey, we've had some cool days in Florida. There's no reason we can't
have.
sneak over to a drag strip.
We can.
And on that note, Dorian, my truck is going to go 10s.
It is happening.
Yeah. We got the transmission in it upgraded because it was like, so close to catastrophic failure. And my trans guy actually said that some of my clutches, I think like first and second and third were starting to burn. He
Which
showed
makes
me
sense
them.
at your power level
Yeah.
and mine.
And I don't have torque reduction in my truck. I'm going to turn it back on.
I have torque reduction in mine.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it makes for kind of hard shifts on mine, which at this power level, you don't need to be doing that shit.
No.
Justin Force is on the line. He's like 3 weeks with a sad face.
Oh.
Poor Justin. He still has to wait 3 weeks to pick up his car.
Don't forget to bring the doggy. B Lightning says my brother has a 17 2.7. What should the first mods be to improve in performance?
Good quality fuel, step 1. I'd say an intercooler is step 2, intercooler upgrade, and then step 3, tune, or even a step 2 and 3, do the intercooler and tune. And then I see a lot of guys doing oil separators on those to keep the condensation out of the intercooler from going into the engine. I know Mike has basically all those on his 3.5 truck. And then maybe like intakes for the turbos.
Kyle SVT says, what up, guys?
Hola.
Hey.
Coyote Kelly says, what is this treachery of the Camaro video?
It's not treachery. We're diversifying our portfolio.
Trust me, more to come, hopefully, in the future, so stay tuned. Yeah, it was a Polaris Slingshot, was the 3-wheeler.
Makes sense.
So, 2019 GT50 Supercharger Kit, question mark, again.
Discussed
Soon.
earlier.
Soon.
Working on it.
Do you have used lower intake manifolds for 15 to 17 GT for sale?
I think we got rid of most of our remaining stock of mix and match parts.
Yeah, that's what Mike was saying too. We don't have a whole lot of used stuff, laying around. We usually advertise it if we do.
Hit up Todd Warren. He either had a 15-17 lower with an upper that's set up for like a blow-through setup. So
okay.
I can't remember if it was 11-14 lower or a 15-17 lower, but hit up Todd Warren. He knows of a guy that's selling one.
David Murdoch's on the line. He says, Joe, you need a comb for that beard.
I do have a comb for this beard. It is highly unmanageable. I need a beard straightener if you guys are going to be worried about me combing it.
Cutlery Hillary Novice says, I have an '01 Lightning and I came across a lower adapter for a TVS style supercharger.
Yep.
Will a Gen 3 VMP supercharger kit fit? Also, what's your opinion on the best handheld tuner for Lightning?
Joe, well, you cannot fit Joe in the palm of your hand nor in your pocket.
Oh,
So,
sad.
yeah.
But in reference to blowers on Lightning manifolds, the Gen 3, I want to say Gen 3 would fit on a Lightning.
Yeah, VMP
'cause I know
GT500
Trinity's
Gen 3.
fit.
Yeah.
So the Gen 3 would fit, a Gen 2R, a Gen 2, a Gen 1, basically all the GT500 blowers that we sell or Ford Racing sells should fit on that. And in reference to, what was his other question? My brain fart.
Best handheld tuner. And I said
best
Joe would not
handheld
fit in
tuner
his
for
pocket.
In reference to those, probably SET X4 for that truck. I don't think Engage and HP tuners have support for the Lightning trucks yet. I know they're doing some EQ5 stuff, but the X4 works great, has great data logging ability, very low percentage of failure, and should work great on a Lightning. It's what we use, I'd say 99.99% of the time on EQ5 stuff.
John Hartman's on the line. Hey, John.
Hola,
He
John.
says, sup. Jonathan says, 18-up trucks need drag mode tuned like Mustangs.
Everything needs drag mode.
And he says, you can do it, Joe.
You could do it.
can do
Nice.
Oh, John says you can't paraphrase his comments anymore.
Hartman.
That was a different John.
Yeah, John Hartman says you can't paraphrase his comments anymore. You got to do the whole thing or nothing.
You got it. Randy says, I don't always sit there and say that there's an emoji at the end. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But if you want me to say the emoji at the end, I'll say the emoji at the end. John Hartman's laughing now. He's like, ha 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 ha. So now I have to do it full word. Randy says, thanks for the launch tune, Joe.
No problem, Randy.
Gerald says, has VMP ever had the chance to tune a twin-charged vehicle?
So like a blower and turbo, or like a blower and nitrous? Because like we've done quite a few blower nitrous cars.
Yeah, that's true.
Have you ever tuned one of the Hellion Hellraiser Cobra kits?
I have not.
I haven't either.
That's actually 3 compressors, right? Because it's a twin turbo Hellion, or is it a single turbo?
Yeah, it's twin turbo on the Hellraiser kit.
Woo!
Yeah. In reference to that, I feel like everyone makes a big deal out of it, but it's not really a big deal, especially on math-based cars, because it's like mass airflow is mass airflow, timing's timing, fueling's fueling.
Yeah, you just put in the stuff that you know works based on the combination, and you get feedback through data acquisition, and you go from there.
I'd say the trickiest thing would just be making sure you have adequate cooling pre-MAF to make sure you're A, not melting the MAF, and B, that you're not overheating the blower, putting 300-degree IAT ones into it. But
yeah.
Other than that, shouldn't be too bad.
Lauren says it's got a 17 GT5, an 07 GT500, wants to upgrade the supercharger.
Okay.
If I understand correctly, the Gen 3 makes the same power with less boost than a Gen 2.
That's correct.
Would it improve the longevity of the stock block over a Gen 2?
One could argue that a blower that takes less horsepower to drive at the same pressure ratio and blower speed would in theory stress the engine less at the same boost level than something that requires more power to drive and is less efficient.
Absolutely.
Omar wants to know X85 or C85?
C85.
Yeah, I think X85 is their low-cost option.
I'm not sure pricing wise, I just prefer C85.
Gotcha.
This doesn't surprise me. So Michael wants to know, any follow-up on Chucky and the 18 truck manifold? It seems like it could be a decent setup.
I need to do that dyno poll. 10 degrees of throttle angle, below 3,500 RPM. 10 degrees of throttle angle, below 3,500 RPM. Both
Oh,
manifolds.
yeah. Do the low part throttle stuff and see what the difference is. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what he was talking about.
I think he was talking about just the advantage to low RPM, the torque to get you off the line
Yeah.
with the F-150 manifold. But
I mean, honestly, we don't know in a transient state off the line about the only way to test that is 60 foot.
yeah,
And it may have some more air velocity that gives you a bigger shot of oxygen.
charge?
Air charge, yeah. Because at that point, it's air and fuel once it passes the injector. But man, everywhere else, above 6,000, it's so bad. So bad.
yeah. I mean, I look at what Ford intended that to be used for: towing trucks up a grade at low RPM before downshifts commanded,
To
and
get
like
good gas mileage.
then it makes sense.
Yeah.
But wide open throttle performance is what like the Mustang I would say is catered for. They have a completely different manifold.
So theoretically, if Ford, we could answer this question without ever having to do it. If Ford mapped drive-by-wire accurately.
Yeah, we could look at the torque tables,
Yeah.
but then you have to assume that the air charge or cylinder filling on the F-150 manifold gets you closer to MBT at lower engine speeds, because all the torque tables are mapped off of MBT, so your distance from MBT is going to change how much torque you're actually going to make.
Yeah.
So like if the F-150 manifold gets you better cylinder filling, but you're still octane limited, then you might be further away from MBT at like those light throttle, light load situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
But ba.
Randy came back, says thanks for the launch tune. He said
No problem,
he
Randy.
entered the 7.0 index for Easter Shootout and won again. VMP for the win again.
Woohoo!
Glad to hear, Randy. If you can, try and get me some logs of the car launching. I can see if there's anything left on the table.
On that note of racing, Mr. John Hartman ran 8s with his VMP Gen 3 powered Coyote last year, I guess now it would have
Yeah, I
been.
guess it would have been last year now.
Yeah, it was
I
even
think it was just before Mod National.
Yeah, and he's like, yep, I'm done. I don't need to go to Mod Nationals anymore. I'll see you guys on the internet. And, well, he finally dynoed his car because he's never dynoed it before. And his setup is a very mild setup. 69 millimeter upper pulley, illuminator, oil pump gears, and crank sprocket. And it made 888 rear wheel horsepower.
Through the 6R80.
Through the 6R80 on a Gen 1 Coyote on a 69 6 rib.
Not too shabby.
Not even an overdrive balancer.
And just pumpy 85 or like C85?
I think he's using like a C85.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's like, oh shucks. and then he goes, woot woot. Exclamation point.
Oh, Carrie.
That's okay, he's laughing. TJ says, do you have any future projects with Cletus?
I guess that's for Cletus to decide. And then us to decide with him.
Yes.
Justin says PS yes.
Overall Cactus says, hi.
Hola.
Cutlery Novice says, sweet, thank you guys from sunny Tampa.
Awesome.
Slapcheck wants to know what shifter can truly shore up the 13-14 first to second shift. I seen you joke with Andrew on his video about his shifting. That factory shifter is not really accurate.
It doesn't seem to be just a shifter issue. It seems like it's partly a shifter issue, partly a 1-2 synchro issue in GT500s. But that, or is it the synchro going because the shifter's not aligned properly?
Well, the 13-14 shifter is the best one they've ever put in a GT500. And I mean, there's definitely like an MGW shifter's a little shorter throw and even tighter. But and the synchros are the best they've ever put in the GT500, and the gear ratio being closer, I think, improves synchro reliability. But that being said, if you race stuff and beat on it, you're still bound to break it. So
yeah.
And you've got potential. I think organic clutches get hot and they have release issues. They expand very quickly. They do not like heat. And that car has an organic clutch.
Yeah.
So imagine beating on the car, getting the clutch hot, continuing to try to shift it, damaging the synchros, and then thinking it's all the shifter's fault.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of Cletus's recent videos. I don't know if you have, but someone's commenting that Cletus bought a Mustang.
He did. I
Ooh.
watched that last night while I was eating dinner at 10:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's well,
But
I'll have
it's
to go check it
a
out.
NPI GT.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Will there be a 7-liter on the Ford F-150 Raptor?
I don't know.
I think they're only playing that engine for Super Duty, unfortunately.
Yeah. Or I guess we'll see if it's unfortunate or not. You're good.
Max wants to know, can I run a Ghost Cam tune on my setup, VMP Gen 3 16 GT? If yes, will it be available at some point at VMP?
I don't plan on making a ghost cam tune for the blower setups. The overlap in the idle region makes it, or creates a very undesired effect with positive displacement superchargers.
It actually, the bypass valve doesn't open enough because of the reduced vacuum that results from increased overlap. And when the bypass valve isn't open, you generate an excessive amount of heat at idle, and it's bad for the supercharger, and it's bad for performance and everything.
Just bad.
I mean, I was telling a guy about your dyno testing results when you didn't use a low vacuum bypass valve, and even just on a couple dyno pulls,
Yeah.
you noticed how quickly it.
It
So
heats up a lot quicker.
anybody with big cams in a car needs a low vacuum bypass valve.
People are coming back commenting on Cletus. They said it's a 2-valve.
Yeah.
And then Dale came back and says, any VMP blower for the 2-valve 99 to 04 Mustang GT?
Torque Tech kit with one of our Cobra superchargers is the best recipe for success. There. Sorry.
Daniel wants to know, when do the Gen 3s for the 15 to 17 trucks go on sale again?
Probably Black Friday, if that happens at all.
There's going to be some package changes and adjustments here in the next couple weeks. So on the full kits, so if you're interested in a full kit and if you're interested in a head unit, I don't know, just stay in touch with us. Contact one of our sales representatives and they can let you know when all that stuff changes.
Shelby Canada West says, hello everybody, hello.
Hola.
Abdulaziz, hope I said that right, wants to know if there are any VMP dealers in the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, we have, I believe, 1 or 2 dealers in UAE. If you get with the sales and support guys, they can get you pointed directly at them if you're looking to buy something that's either in stock or work with someone in your country to have something shipped over.
Do you guys offer the power package for the Cobra Jet intake manifold on a 1314 GT without the cold air intake?
I'd say that's most likely a la carte.
Yeah, we can sell you everything individually. You need to
wants
do that.
Just the manifold, throttle body, and install kit.
Ooh, we got a new throttle body that'll work perfect on that.
Yeah. And in reference to that, do you know what the, I wonder if he thinks that if he buys the kit minus the cold air, if the full retail price of the cold air comes off of the kit, and then he gets everything at an increased, reduced value, and it's like we package the kits together and we lose a bit of our margin on each individual part to put it in there, but that doesn't mean that when you take one of the parts out, you get a full credit back as to the full retail value of one of those parts and get the rest at the reduced price.
Yeah, it's always just to add up the a la carte price. And I think we're the only one that has a throttle body Y harness that is that truly plug and play versus a D-pin deal. And we've got the biggest twin blade throttle body for that setup. Obviously, we've got great tunes for that setup, so there's a lot of reasons just stick with VMP. We can make sure it's supported, tuned, works properly, makes lots of horsepower.
Victor Xavier says, hello, Joe, Justin, and Carrie. Do you work with any shops in Connecticut?
Hey.
Trying to think if anyone comes to mind in Connecticut.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the Northeast that we know. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Yeah, that'd probably be another one where I'd hit up sales and support. They have kind of like a little map of our dealer network, and you tell them where you're at, and we can kind of give you an idea of who we got in that area.
The gentleman that was just asking about the Cobra Jet says, yes, I already have a used JLT cold air.
Nice.
To set up.
Yep.
While you guys are talking about trucks, what does a VMP kit do wheel horsepower wise to a 6.2 Raptor?
Did you say 470 to 490 wheel is typical for a Raptor?
Well, since you had one on the dyno Monday, Joe, you have firsthand experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty typical.
Mm-hmm.
And
93 octane, sea level, dyno jet, asterisk, 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 asterisk. That's about what they make.
And that's basically, our kit's very similar to the Roush kit. It's just turned up a little bit more as far as boost with a smaller pulley and our own calibration.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Siborowski's on the line, says, hey all.
Hola, Michael.
Hey, Mike.
Mitchell Page is on the line.
Hey, Mitchell.
Ed Dowd is on the line.
It's a party.
Whoa. All the fastest VMP TVS people. Rebecca's over there in the office.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw her chime in, but yeah. Gerald says, are there drive-by cable throttle bodies available for Coyote engines?
The closest you're going to get is our Cobra GT500 pattern throttle body. Most of the manifolds that use a dual blade throttle body, that Cobra throttle body would bolt directly up to and
Yeah.
uses a cable-driven throttle.
We've got some people running standalones with VMP blowers and they're using that.
Mm-hmm.
Will Ford stop using the 5-liter V8 in the Ford F-150?
I don't think so.
To be seen.
Gosh, let's hope they don't.
Yeah, I like the V8 F-150. It'd
Snow-
make me sad.
Oops, sorry. Snowcone says, hoping to come down to Florida from Washington someday. I want to visit the Promised Land.
The promised land of horsepower.
The Mecca.
I would say, Joe, that I think like the 2.7's kind of like the base engine,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 5.0 and the 3.5 are upgrades. So Ford charges more money for the Coyote. So
I think that the 3.5 naturally aspirated is the super base.
it's the super base, yeah.
And then I think 5 liters one up from that because I think the 2.7 and 3.5 are more money than 5 liter.
Oh, really? Even the 2.7?
I think so. I'd have to go back and look, or if one of you guys knows, let us know in the comment section.
You know, and my point is hopefully there's some incentive for Ford to keep it because it gets good gas mileage. It makes good power when it's supercharged.
I really want them to do like another version of F-150. Like I know they have the Raptor. The Raptor's great, but to me, not everyone wants the lifted, wow, look what I can do truck.
Brodozer.
Some guys want the single cab.
They want a
V8
Lightning.
supercharged. We want the Lightning. Bring the Lightning back.
Put the 2020 GT500 engine in a regular cab F-150.
Ooh.
You know you can do it.
Speaking of my hot.
Yeah.
B Lightning says, Cletus is sure putting your VMP charger through a good torture test.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I called him up and I'm like, hey, you want to do some durability testing? He's like, I'm your man.
I can just picture him saying that too.
Yeah,
which
me
makes
too.
it better.
That's what's funny about it. Dorian says, bring back the Lightning.
See, Dorian's on board. Dorian and I are trying to make our own Lightnings.
This has been asked before, but we'll mention it again. What fuel do you guys recommend? BP, Sheets, Sunoco, Shell, 93 octane in Pennsylvania.
You know, Wawa has a really good BLT. So if you're hungry and you need to get gas.
I'd say that my preference goes in this order. A gasoline that is considered top tier quality fuel, which it should have a little sticker on the pump that says top tier quality fuel. I don't know who rates them as such, but there's usually a little sticker there. And then second criteria is rate of turnover on the fuel that you are looking at using, whether that's 87, 91, 93. Try not to focus on the rate of turnover of the fuels that you aren't using. Focus on the turnover rate of the fuels that you are using. Like if you see a bunch of mom and pop Honda Odyssey, Toyota Camrys rolling up to the pump and filling up with 87, that doesn't mean anything for your 93 that you're putting in your car or your 91 that you're putting in the car.
You see the wine and cheese crowd filling up their Cadillac Escalade with premium, you know that's your spot.
Yep, exactly. And I got to call our local fuel distribution place and be like, yo, can you give me like a list of the local places? Like, you don't even have to tell me like how much they're buying. Just let me know which one buys the most 93.
Right.
And then just to kind of like see if fuel distribution places, at least locally, are willing to give out that information.
And my method is just like try to use the same stuff over and over again. I've gone on
Because then at
long-
least you know you're using the X amount per month or
Yeah.
week or year.
and you're getting consistent results, whatever those results may be. They're at least consistent. I've driven a car cross country before and found like the varying qualities of 93. Ooh, this one pings at low RPM. Ooh, this one doesn't. And that was on a very NOx sensitive vehicle.
Oh, man.
Matt B says, serious question. I live locally and curious if you are ever going to sell Track Attack Mustang.
Everybody keeps asking that question.
And then he came back and says, wonder what ballpark range would be for someone interested in buying Track Attack.
I think you just need to post a for sale ad at like your number, like whatever number's in
That'll
your head.
answer everybody's questions. Yeah.
And just post your number out there, and then
It's going to be a big number.
that or post it on eBay with a reserve
Yeah.
and just see what happens.
Yeah.
Any VMP blower for the twice came in. Daniel says, got it, just need the head unit intake, currently running Roush 2300 maxed out. I'll be switching in the winter. So, switching, I guess, to the 2650?
Nice.
Do you guys think it's worth going the Cobra Jet route on my 18 or porting the factory intake? Also, is it really worth putting a cold air on in my car since the factory cold air seems to do good?
I'd say it really depends on what your end goal is with the car. If your end goal is all-out track performance, then probably put a Cobra Jet on it and probably put a cold air on it. If your end goal is a really fun daily driver, I don't know. I feel so weird about this because like I know the ported manifolds perform well, but I think that if I already had the manifold I wanted ported on my car, that I wouldn't pull it off to have it ported unless I was looking to get every ounce of power out of that manifold.
It's definitely an interesting dynamic, yeah. Because if you're upgrading the whole manifold, it's like, oh, I'll just get it ported too.
Yeah, because it's already off. You're already there. There's no downtime on your car type of thing.
Yeah.
Or no additional downtime. But I don't know. I'd start with a tune. If you have a high quality fuel or a high octane fuel like E85 or race gas local, I'd say that's the shortest route to the best possible performance out of the setup of the car. And then just kind of work from there. Like you had alluded to, the factory cold air does perform well, but we have seen verifiable dyno results from some of the aftermarket cold airs out there. They do make more power, but if you're not out there using all of that power all the time, sometimes stuff like that doesn't make sense. So just you got to kind of look at pros, cons, check stuff off your list, and kind of see what's going to be worth it and best for you.
People are still talking about Track Attack.
Oh man.
Victor says Track Attack is my personal favorite VMP project.
Bidding starts at 60,000.
Nat B says big numbers for Track Attack. And slaps his head.
Track Attack is going to be a little more famous before we sell it.
We're going to do some things.
I'm going to do some things. How's that plan going, by the way?
So far, so good.
Good, good.
We have some more questions coming in here. Are there common issues with the BOVs on the Ecos on 14 F-150s?
Do you know much about that, Joe?
I don't know about any blow-off valve issues with EcoBoost F-150s.
John says, hey guys, stock headers, cat deletes, or long tube cat deletes. Which makes more power, or are they the same? I'm on a budget build, or would shorty headers with cat deletes give me the same results?
No shorty headers, please.
I would not put shorty headers on anything.
If it came down to where to spend money, the stock headers are pretty, I don't know.
I like to think of it this way. If budget build are the first words out of your mouth, don't put headers on a 5-liter car.
Yeah.
Not until a very high horsepower level do they really net a like really good dollar per horsepower figure. Like on a mild setup 600-700 wheel, they're in that lower end of gains at around 10-20 horsepower.
And like the supercharged cars always dyno a little better when they have long tube headers, but it's not like 50 horsepower.
Yeah,
like Joe said,
a lot of these long tube setups, you're into them $2,000, $2,500
Yeah.
by the time's all said and done. That's a pretty high dollar per horsepower figure if you're already boosted.
And basically, everybody does long tubes because they want to, right? Because they like
the sound, or they want to say they have long tubes, or the perceived horsepower gain, which there is a horsepower gain. It's just low at the lower boost levels in comparison with like running 26 pounds on E85 at all of it.
Yeah.
Dale wants to know, do you guys do coyote swaps in Fox bodies?
Do we have the physical capability to do so? Yeah, I think we could do one. It wouldn't be an issue, but I'd say from a current workload standpoint, you may want to get with sales and kind of discuss your actual plan and see like when we could do something like that, because we're one full-time tech right now, and he stays pretty busy just with the stuff that we have going on normally.
There's a lot of little details to do a coyote swap, so I think, if you want to have us do it, we can absolutely do it and do a really good job at it with the team we have here. But most people swapping a Fox body are kind of doing it all themselves as a project. So we'd rather be involved in the final result of tuning it and selling you the parts you need for it and tuning it for you.
Give me 1 second, I'm just grabbing these questions real quick.
It's all good.
The Lightning came back and he says, I'm just wanting to do a cat delete.
Okay. That's probably your best bet.
Will E85 gas give you more horsepower?
So, kind of a vague question in terms of what type of answer you're going to get, but it has the potential to give you a lot more horsepower. It depends entirely on how close you are to maximum brake torque on the fuel that you're using currently. What we refer to as the distance from MBT. If you're half a degree from MBT on the fuel that you're using, there's not going to be much gain going to E85. If you're 6 degrees of timing away from MBT on the fuel that you're using or the boost that you're running or whatever, your gain going to E85 is going to be significantly higher. I'd say that your best bet to determine the benefit or advantage to running E85 would be to put your car on a race gas and get a race gas tune and just see how much power you gain from that. And then if you don't want to spend the $5 to $27 a gallon on the race fuel, and you can kind of weigh the option of spending money on fuel system if you need one and all that stuff, you can kind of figure out the dollars and cents to see if it makes sense to go to E85 or if it makes more sense to just occasionally use race fuel on your setup.
Yeah.
Eric would like to know, IW or ATI 10% on an 09 GT500, which would you recommend?
ATI.
Yeah, I, both from an aesthetics and a personal experience standpoint, like the ATI product a little bit more.
ATI always. We've got the balancer and the belt on our website.
If you like polished, shiny, lots of bolts, IW is probably your best bet. I like clean, simple, works good.
And we like the functionality of the ATI design as far as it's so simple, stupid, and I think they've got a patent on it, but it works really well, and that's just using O-rings, a series of O-rings and shells to create a dampening effect.
Go ahead.
Can we talk about the new throttle body for a second?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to tell you one comment and then
we got 10 minutes left.
Chuck Harder came on and he says he thinks all, quote, new top fans should be able to drive Track Attack.
Oh, God.
And of course, he is a top fan.
He's a top fan. Shit.
Coincidentally, he has no self-interest in this comment.
Anyway, now I was going to sit there and say we have about 10 minutes left, so if you want to hit it.
Well, I know what Track Attack dynoed yesterday, and you do too. And Chuck, it's quite a bit. I don't know.
Track Attack's a handful, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not used to that.
There's a very good reason that the first time Cletus came here that I waved him off, because the car was starting to go like this at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, and it's like I kind of have Track Attack at my disposal, and I don't like driving it. And that's not to say that the car is not fun to drive. I just don't like the responsibility of driving it. And like, what if someone like comes into your lane and just like creams the side of the car like that?
Yeah,
that's not a fun thought for me. So
it's not a fun thought.
I'd rather drive my Vic than drive Track Attack.
But yeah, Track Attack gets up and goes. It's fun. It's fun as hell. I need to take Track Attack through the Burnout pad. So this is the new Twin Jet 69 for 14 and older that we've been talking about for a while.
I'm putting it on a turntable.
Yes, Joe's turntable.
It's a piece of jewelry.
So you've got the GT500 style electronics. That way,
GT500 style TPS.
yeah. Commonly used on GT500s and 11 to 14 Coyotes with our Y harness.
Anybody that knows how to use a keyboard can tune this throttle body.
Yeah.
I say that very loosely.
Why do we keep making small twin blade throttle bodies? Small-ish. Because they're really freaking tunable and drivable. And like Joe said, other tuners just don't have problems with them.
Yeah, and it's you get into the weeds of this stuff, but at the end of the day, we get calls on occasion of people that, oh, my Twin 67's not working. Are you sure? Are you sure it's not working?
Yeah.
Get your tuner to send me a log, or send me a log of what you're referring to. And it's like, TPS is working and the throttle's moving properly. What issues are you having? Oh, it surges. Okay, well, get with your tuner. They're probably changing a lot more than they should be.
If the throttle body works fine, like at idle and wide open throttle, but surges, that is always a tuning issue. The
Or
throttle,
a vacuum leak, or it's
Yeah.
usually a mechanical or tuning issue.
the surging when the blades are going like this is simply the computer inputting commands into here because it doesn't have the proper tables to reference. It's trying to go closed loop on an airflow value that it can't find. So
Or
yeah,
it's flowing significantly more air than it thinks it should be.
we'll have these on the website later this week for purchase.
Bum, bum, bum.
Do you guys tune the new On 3 single?
Do we or will we?
I do.
I have not tuned a new On 3 single setup yet. If you want us to tune it, just get with sales and support or shoot me an email and let me know what the exact setup is, and I'll let you know whether or not that's a yay or an A.
Let me go into a little more detail here before we can tune anything. It's just air in the engine, air out of the engine. The question is the combo set up right? Does it support remote tuning? You know, does it lend itself to that, or is it better to have it in front of us to troubleshoot like mechanical issues? Even something as simple as a centrifugal supercharger kit, every one of those clamps that holds every one of those goddamn intercooler pipes has to be on there and tight, or it blows off on the first dyno pull.
And then, oh, I did a pull and now my car won't start. And it stalled after the pull. Okay, did you check your charge couplers? And
Yeah.
it usually isn't a problem for those like 6 to 8 PSI guys, because like you could like squeeze it with your fingers and hold it on at 6 to 8 pounds, but like the guys that want to do 12 to 20 pounds are where like a lot of the issues start to pop up.
You know, and one pops off, oh, I fixed that. And then like the next three pop, you know, one after another pops off after that. You just go
Yeah.
down the line.
And I've had cars like that on the dyno, and I can tell you there are not many more things that are more infuriating from a tuning standpoint than having to stop what you're doing to fight a coupler for 15 minutes to restart the process.
To pull the bumper off, to get the coupler, get to the coupler.
Dude.
So anyways, like we can tune anything. It's whether we want to approach something like that over mail order or in person. But if it's all put together right, we certainly can do that.
Give it the old college try.
Since we're talking about throttle bodies, looks like David Murdoch's sitting there saying that he's getting ready to put a Gen 3 on his car. Wants to know if his Twin 67 fine, or should he go with a single blade? What's the difference?
So based on my experience with a Gen 3, a Twin 67 will support significantly more power than your car is going to make on a stock engine. If you were looking for absolute max effort because you need 20 horsepower to reach your ET goal or your horsepower goal, then sometimes a single blade or one of the bigger throttle bodies makes sense. But for what you're looking to do with your car, Dave, leave a Twin 67 on the car. The car is going to drive great, perform great, and you're not leaving entirely too much horsepower on the table using that throttle body.
Yeah, exactly.
He says he came back and said, my current setup with 69 millimeter pulley, sometimes it would feel like I'm giving my car a little more gas just cruising around all of a sudden. It's minor, what could that be?
Without a log of what you're referring to, under the specific condition that you're referring to, it's kind of hard to guess what you're talking about.
Any chance a VMP 2650 will adapt to the GT350 anytime in the future?
You
I think we hit this last week.
Yeah. You can buy our supercharger kit and put it on a GT350.
Yeah, I think the only thing you'd really have to do is make sure that it A, clears the hood with drop engine mounts, and B, drill a hole in the fuel rail and tap it for the GT350's fuel rail pressure sensor. I think other than that, it should drop on.
Yeah.
We have about 4 minutes left. I'm
Okay.
going to run through these real quick. I'm about to change my plugs, running 15 pounds of boost. I was going to throw some TR6s, one range colder.
15 pounds of boost on what?
What should I gap them at? Looking here, then say. Any problems with the stock heads and changing plugs in an 01 Lightning? There you go.
15 pounds of boost on a Lightning. I'd almost rather see a 7 heat range plug, especially if it's on pump gas.
Especially for a 2-valve head, yeah. 7 heat range or like a 12 brisk.
I want to say there's like a TR7IX that you could use in a Lightning. You'll get a lot of life out of the Iridium.
Yep.
Yep. And then gap at 15 pounds, you could probably run as high as 32, but I'd like to see it closer to 30 because people will take my my gap recommendation and they'll go to AutoZone and get one of the coin gappers and they'll use that to gap it, and then, yo, I'm getting spark flow out. What'd you gap them at? 32? What'd you use to gap them? The little thing from the parts store. All right, pull them out, use some feeler gauge, and like actually gap them and let me know what happens. Oh, use feeler gauge and it's they were all off, but now they're good and I threw them in and it's good now.
Pet peeve, always use a frickin' feeler gauge to gap plugs.
Yep.
Coyote Chris wants to know, have you heard of any issues or problems with the 18 or 19 trans brake feature besides half shaft braking?
I haven't.
Any hashtag Tick Tuesday?
Tick Tuesday, sheesh.
I haven't, but I haven't used it yet personally, so I can't speak from personal experience on the 1819 HP Tuner's trans brake feature. I can tell you that Braden and Eric work really hard on that stuff to make sure that it works properly before it ever gets released into public software. So.
Now, is anybody else doing an 1819 trans brake?
I don't think SCT is. I think you got to do at least a partial OS rewrite to get that functionality to work because you're integrating some CAN functionality into TuneFile.
Right.
So.
Overall Cactus wants to know, will you work on Corvette?
If the money's green, yeah.
Yeah, we actually, Matt's working on a job for one of our longtime customers right now that has a Corvette. So.
I think I know you're talking about Bradley.
Bud Burke.
Oh, okay.
Bradley, we could reach out to Bradley too.
Yeah.
You know, now that we've got that all that capacity internally. But yeah, Bud's got a Mustang I've worked on, and he's done stuff for us for years.
Nice.
Did the whole ventilation system in the dyno room.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dorian would like to know thoughts on e-locker versus Ford track lock versus wave track for a 15 to 19 F-150 at 7 to 900 wheel.
I'd say, based on our experience, if you want something that's going to be durable, you probably want a wave track in the truck. I'd say that the Mustang Ford Traction Lock Super 8.8 is probably a little bit stronger than the e-locker, but Justin did break the spider gears in it on his truck. And yeah, wave track might be your best bet, buddy.
Overall Cactus 74 says, Autovlog is the reason I'm here. Welcome.
Awesome.
Hey.
Coyote Kelly says, push that track attack stock motor to the moon.
To the moon.
I don't think it'll go up. I think it's going to go down. So like, if we're going to push it, it's eventually going to end up like maybe, what's the median layer of the Earth? Like just before you get to the nice chewy center.
Oh, Jesus. Joe, why do you have to be so depressing? That was going to be...
We're going to put a piston to the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
Oh, we're going to make some awesome numbers before we do that, though.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, fingers crossed those ringlands survive and everything, because we're fixing to do some crazy stuff
So
with
we're
it.
at 2:30. We have a whole bunch of questions, so if we can get maybe the guys to go through and read them after, but I have two I'm going to ask you before we sign off.
Sounds good.
First one is Hassan would like to know, he's thinking of put a turbo on my 15 Fusion Energy. Would you be interested in tuning it?
I could probably do EcoBoost stuff if,
Yeah.
if we...
I don't know what the energy is. Is that like a hybrid? Is he talking about putting a turbo on a hybrid Fusion?
Got to see if a tuning company supports that.
Yeah, not only that, but to what utility most, like the hybrids of the world, like Priuses,
ERGI.
run electric motor at wide open throttle and just kind of like supplement the power and the current request with
Yeah.
the engine. So I don't know that a turbo would really net anything if that's truly a hybrid car.
When you have an
Hybrid car.
when you have an electric motor working for you, things get interesting.
I wouldn't do that, buddy. I'd get do a Tesla rear-mounted motor swap.
I've got front and rear wheel drive,
Exactly.
independently controlled.
And then Chris Cologne says, hey Justin, want to torture test the Gen 3 Coyote blower on my 2019 Track Attack car? Question mark.
Well, we got to get our 1819 kit out, but sure.
And then with that said, we are at 2:31.
Thanks, everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Joe, I don't think I'm going to be here next week. I think Matt's going to sit in for me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Breaking my heart.
Yeah, Rebecca's having a baby
Yeah. Well,
very, very soon.
I guess you'll see Justin maybe one of the following weeks, and then
Yeah.
it'll be me and Matt until then.
And with that said, did you decide whether or not you're going to be pre-recorded this week?
We're going to do a shortened Burnout box on Thursday.
Okay, so this week, you guys make sure you tune in on Thursday at 1:30, and we will have a shortened, probably about 30 minutes burnout box. And then next week will be pre-recorded, and then we'll be back with our regularly programmed.
Yes, with our newborn.
With a regular scheduled program.
Regularly
We've got a
scheduled
regular
program.
scheduled program.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Bow to your sensei.
Bye.